Hi everyone, it's Christina from Photosprouts here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've got a pair of new earrings. Do you like them? Today, I'm going to share with you my experience in how to use an on-camera flash to shoot any events photography as long as they're indoors. For outdoors, it's pretty easy, so I'm going to talk about indoors. So the pain point of many photographers will be like the subjects are overexposed and the background is really dark. And as they try to fix your settings, they're struggling. And the clients, they're waiting right in front of them. And it's actually a very scary situation. Today, I'm going to use the Godox V1 Mid as an example. This is a very powerful flash, extremely easy to use, and I personally think it is a game changer for event photography. Previously, I also used Godox flashes for event photography, but this one is so easy to use. Everything is like touchscreen. You can change the settings really fast. The power output is strong and very, very nice. So I'm gonna use this flash as an illustration. And actually it is sent by Godox for me to review. However, they did not pay me. So my opinions will be very honest and it's all based on my personal experience. In this video, I'll divide into two parts. Number one, the process and the logic of using a flash. And part two, the three must-haves in event photography. I'll show you examples photos when you have these elements and example photos when you do not have these elements. So let's get started. Before we talk about the settings, you need to understand one important concept. Whenever you use a flash, you're working with two exposures. The first exposure is the ambient exposure. This is the exposure of the background and the surrounding light in the room. It is controlled by your camera's setting, the ISO, aperture, and the shutter speed. The second exposure is the flash exposure. It is the exposure on your subject, and it is mainly controlled by your flash power. I want you to think in this order. First, expose for the ambient light in the room. Second, add the flash for the subject, and that's the whole logic. So here's a step-by-step process. Step 1, turn off your flash. Step 2, determine the ambient exposure by dialing to your camera's ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Ask yourself, do you want the background to look darker, more natural, or brighter? And this is your ambient exposure. Don't be surprised if your ISO needs to be high. Something like ISO 1600 or even 2000 is actually very normal. Indoor light is much darker than your eyes think. Your camera sees indoor spaces as dark scenes, especially if your aperture is narrow, like f4 or f8. So if you need a higher ISO, this is perfectly normal. Don't be intimidated. Once you're happy with the ambient exposure, step 3 is to turn on your flash. Take a test shot on your subject. If your subject looks too bright, lower the flash power. And if the subject looks too dark, increase the flash power. And that's it. Up to here, you might want to ask two more questions. Question number 1, can you slow down the shutter speed to let in more ambient light instead of raising the ISO? Instead of using a shutter speed of 1/200 of a second, can you use 1/60th or even 1/15th? Yes, you can, and here's why. Number 1, a slower shutter speed will allow more ambient light coming in and make the background brighter. Number 2, as long as the shutter speed is within the flash sync speed, which is 1/200 of a second or 1/250th, the flash exposure is not affected. However, watch out for motion blur. A lot of people think, I'm using the flash, so the flash will freeze the motion, and that's only partly true. The flash can freeze your subject that is mainly lit by the flash, but when you're using a slower shutter speed, the room light also has more time to record the movement. So you may end up with a sharp subject from a flash, but also a blurry ghosting effect from the ambient light. And if the subject is both affected by the flash and also the ambient light, he or she can be blurred as well. Therefore, I'll stick to 1/200 of a second or 1/100th if I can hold the camera steady enough without introducing any camera shake. Question number 2, what aperture should I use? First up, I shoot on a wide lens, like a 24mm or 35mm, and the depth of field is pretty deep, and I don't need to use a super narrow aperture. I typically use f4 or f5.6 for one person or a small group, as long as they're in one row. But for larger groups, and if they're in multiple rows, I'll use f8. Given that I keep my shutter speed at 1/200 of a second, aperture f5.6 or f8, it is inevitable that the ISO needs to go as high as 1600. But modern mirrorless cameras have impressive ISO performance, and you should not be constrained by the fear of bumping up the ISO. It is just a small issue in a big picture. You should be defined by your rich photography knowledge, posing, and lighting skills. So follow Photosprouts channel. Now, you have understood the process of using a flash. Let's see what are the 3 must-haves when you use an on-camera flash. Number 1, you need to use TTL. TTL is basically the auto mode on your flash. It stands for through the lens, which means the camera and the flash work together to decide how much flash power is needed for the subject. For event photography, TTL is extremely helpful because your aperture can affect the ambient and the flash exposure. For example, you might be shooting a portrait of a guest at f4 and then more guests come in and you're trying to shoot a group photo. You might have to narrow down the aperture from f4 to f5.6 to get everyone in focus. But narrowing down the aperture will also decrease the flash exposure. And if you're on the flash's manual mode, you have to up the flash power in order to compensate. But if you're shooting on the flash's TTL mode, changing the aperture will automatically change the flash's power output, and you'll get more consistent lighting. You can still tweak the exposure by adding or reducing the flash exposure compensation. And last but not least, in order to use TTL, you need to purchase a flash that supports your camera. For instance, if you're a Canon user, buy a flash that is for Canon. This is the Godox V1 Mid for Canon. And if you're a Sony or a Nikon, make sure the flash is for Sony or Nikon so you can use TTL. Number 2, bounce a flash and use a flash bouncer. Do not do this. Don't point your flash directly to the subject, okay? Because the light will be very harsh and flat. Instead, you want to bounce the flash to diffuse the light. There are many ways to bounce a flash. You can bounce it on the ceiling, but the ceiling cannot be very high. Otherwise, the light, when it goes through the ceiling, it will lose a lot of power as it travels for a long distance. You can angle it like this. And this flash, it has the angle here, the marking of the angle here that you can reference to. While it is fine to bounce a flash on a low ceiling, but this is something that you cannot control in an event. You'll be in trouble if the ceiling is high and you have no bouncers in your camera bag. So always bring a flash bouncer. I'm gonna use a flash bouncer. Remember, a flash bouncer is your lifesaver. I'm using the Godox AKR1 modifier kit for on-camera flash. And this kit is magnetic and specially designed for the V1 series. Put this little flash bouncer on the adapter magnet and then just pop it on the flash. Super convenient. I tried it on an actual company event. It works. And I will also recommend you to use the Rogue flash bouncer. It works like this. Let me show you. And personally, I think the broader or the bigger the flash bouncer, the more diffuse and nicer the lights. In my next company event, I will probably use this flash bouncer. Okay, and remember, flash position, vertical, pointing towards the ceiling. Add the flash bouncer to push the light towards the subject, like this. Okay, and lastly, the third must-have is CTO gels. Ta-dang! CTO gels stands for color temperature orange. Let me explain why. This is the step that many photographers will skip, and trust me, if you skip CTO gels, the entire photo will be ruined. So you must have the CTO gel. So when you photograph indoors, especially in restaurants, wedding receptions, or event spaces, conference rooms, the room is often lit by warm artificial lighting, such as the tungsten or incandescent lights. Under these conditions, you will find yourself dialed to a lower or cooler Kelvin temperature in your camera. For instance, 3500 or 38K in order to counterbalance the warm lighting in the room. The flash, however, when your Kelvin temperature is so low, the light on your subject will be very bluish. And in order to make the skin tone of your subject warmer, you need a warm gel to warm up the light on your subject. There are full CTOs, the most orange one, half CTO and quarter CTO gels, depending on how warm the room is and how low your Kelvin temperature is set on your camera. If you want to learn more about that, I have another video dedicated to how to use CTO and CTB gels. I'll make sure to put a link in the description down below. So let's put everything together. I'm using the Godox V1 Mid Flash as an example. It's compatible with Canon, which means it has TTL, and the battery is charged by the USB-C cord, super convenient. Okay, let's turn it on and make sure you're dialed to TTL when you're shooting event photography on camera, and you can adjust the power here by tapping on the screen. For the accessories, I use the AKR1 kit from Godox, and you have a lot of different modifiers. So it has 3 CTO gels and the adapter. I simply put the CT gel in the adapter, and it connects to the flash by a magnet. And then this is the flash bouncer. It's very easy to attach them together. And you can pop it on the flash using the magnet. Now, let's see what happens if we do not have the flash bouncer and the CTO gel. This is a no flash scenario. This is the direct flash, and you can see that the light on the subject is super harsh. And let's bounce on the low ceiling. And I think the result is pretty good because the ceiling is low enough, but the skin tone is too bluish. And now let's add the flash bouncer. And finally, add the CTO gel to warm up the skin tone. If you find this tutorial useful, please drop me a comment and I'll be so happy for you. I do check on every single comment and I would love to see your success. And remember, Photosprouts will be your cheering leader on your photography journey. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye! We're Photosprouts photography workshops in San Francisco. Equipment is provided for beginners so that they don't need to buy a camera to come to a photography class.